Hello wonderful people, it's Wild here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build this ice spike wizard tower. This stunning build is super spacious and feels right at home within a wintry biome like this one. This showstopper of a build with its towering spires would make for an epic base or as a showcase piece for your world. So follow along for a tutorial or check out below for world downloads for this and all my other builds. The materials you'll need for this build are on your screen now. Keep in mind that these are the materials you'll need for the finished build. I always recommend for a large build like this one that you have a few extra of each supply on hand. That'll really help you building. Here is the outline for today's build. You can see we've got quite a complex shape here, so let's break it down. Marked in there with the lighter color concrete is our main tower, and it is basically a circle. Then in the darker color concrete powder, we have the extra details in the smaller tower marked in. I recommend starting in one corner of this outline and placing in a guideline like this one to help you build. If we come down to ground level here, you can see that the center of the side of the largest tower is 2 blocks away from the center of the side of this smallest tower. We're going to start this build by working on the base of this tower. Now we're going to be having some ice veins kind of coming up from where we have these spikes marked around, but I'm going to build it all out of the stone brick first, and then I can go back in and add in those once we've got the shape. I'm also going to mix in a little bit of cracked stone brick and stone as we go here, but you can always come back in and randomize your texture afterwards. So I'm going to start by creating a shape like this one for the front, and I'm leaving out a 2-gap hole for the door. I'm going to create the same shape on the other 3 sides, but I'm going to fill in that gap where the door is. And I'm aiming to use mostly stone brick here with just a bit of the other 2 materials mixed in. So you can see we go 1, then 2, and then 1. And over here for the last part of this design. There we go. Okay, next I'm going to come back around to the front, and you can see we've got these 2 wide sections marked out on either side. We're going to create the same design from each, working our way up to the center. So the first layer is going to be 2, like this, then we'll go up 2 high for the next layer. Like that. We'll go up 2 high for the layer on top of here, like this. And then we've got to connect up to the other side. So let's add the same design over here. So 1, and we've got our layer of 2 next, 2. We've got another layer of 2 coming in here, 2. Now we can connect this up in the center, like that. And we're going to add 3 across and then 1 in the center. So 1, 2, 3, and 1 to finish off that layer. So it looks like that. I'm going to create the same shape on the other sides now, and they'll end up touching in the corner like that. So here's what we have so far. We have these 3 sides, and we need to fill in the corners. So I'm going to come in and build up 3 high here in each corner, and we'll continue filling in the walls from that. Okay, from here we're going to come to either side, and I recommend grabbing out a temporary block. Wool works great for this, but you could use dirt too. And I'm going to just build up 3 high from either diagonal side. So 1, 2, 3, like this. And then over here, we're going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3. So let's go around and do that. It really helps when building complicated shapes like these in the tower to break them into simpler parts. So we've created each face and now we need to fill in the gaps. And onto the final gap, and then we can work up from here. Okay, now we need to fill in the gaps in between here. So we're going to build up 3 high again. 1, 2, 3, and then 2 in. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and then we need to fill in the gap in between just with a block, like that. We just need to fill in these corners now, so I'm going to grab a temporary block and then build up 3 high, 1, 2, 3, and I'll come 1 to either side of that. Let's do that in each of these corners. 1, 2, 3. And the last corner. And then we're just going to fill in these 3 blocks along here. So we're going to end up with a smaller circle at the top. We're going to be fading towards some snow for the rest of the tower, but I'm just going to go on with the snow and we can add that transition in afterwards. We're going to start by adding snow blocks on top of this outline, leaving out these corners. Like that. Then I'm going to place 1 on each side. And then I'll have 2 coming off of these 2 blocks to fill in the rest of the circle. So you'll end up with a snow circle that looks like that. For the next layer, we're going to take snow blocks and go all the way across here, so that's 5 blocks. In the center of each face, I'm going to build up 5 high with light blue stained glass panes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll then take snow blocks and build up on either side of the window. And then to fill in these corners, we're going to use a temporary block and just place in snow here. So here's what we've got. We're next going to start flaring out the walls of this tower. So I'm going to come on top of these windows and build across 5. Then 2 on top of this, I'm going to place a temporary block in the center of each wall with a snow block on that. Can remove those now. And I'm going to have 2 blocks coming to either side of that. So we're expanding out the circle here. You can see it gradually getting bigger. On top of this, we're going to have 3 blocks on each of these 1 blocks. Just like that. And then we're going to have a little corner space like this. Then we're going to extend this to 1 block either side, so we've got a total of 5. And of course we need to fill in each of these corners. And we're going to create the exact same layer for the next layer. Like that. For the final layer here, we're going to use a couple temporary blocks. And I'll be placing 3 along each side. I can remove those now. And I'm going to have 2 more blocks coming out from here just to connect up the rest of the circle. So here's the circle we should finish with, and if we take a step back, you can see the nice shape we've created. Now we need to blend this transition between the 2 blocks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and add in a few snow blocks and move some of the stone brick up. So let's see, let's put some in here. We'll come around this side and add in a few more. It's up to you how many you add in. You just want to look for a texture you're happy with. And don't forget, you can always take a step back, check you like the look, and then come back in and change things if you would like. Let's add 1 more of those here, I think. And we'll maybe have that one come down a bit lower. Let's go around the whole build. I'm thinking this is looking nice. And yes, I'm happy with that. While we're working on this texturizing, we're going to go in with some packed ice and blue ice and create some icy veins going up the side of the tower here. So let's start, I might actually start over on this side, and I'm going to have this one coming up that way. I'm going to start by going in with just the packed ice, and then I'll mix in a little bit of the blue ice once I've got the shape laid out. And the great thing about this is every tower is going to be unique here. So you can work out a texture of an ice vein that you like. I think that's a pretty nice shape. And it doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine. So there's the first one. Let's come around here. I'd like to have one on the back. Let's have this one going off to this side. And I'm kind of zigzagging back and forth a little bit here. There's the next one. Let's actually have this come 1 more over. We'll go in with our blue ice next. There's that one. Let's add a couple more. I think I'll come round to the front and we're going to have one coming across this way. See if we like the shape of that. I do, but I'm just going to add a couple more blocks in. Maybe like this, and I might have this one come across here. And let's have this come up a little bit higher. I think that looks good. Let's go in with our blue ice. And for the last one, let's have it come across this way. I think I'll start on this side for this one. The important thing here is just to keep the shape of the tower the same. So you can see I'm only replacing blocks, I'm not adding anything in here. Okay, let's have a look. I think that's good. Let's add in some blue ice again. This just breaks up the texture and makes it look a little bit more magical. And with those all in, I'm going to do a similar sort of texture at the top, but these are going to be a little bit shorter. So once again, I'll go in with my packed ice first. And this one can kind of finish off here, I think. Let's have one over on this side. And then we'll add in our blue ice as well. Alright, let's take a step back and have a look at the tower now. For the next step, we're going to add a platform on top of here. But first I'm going to come down to the base and add in a couple torches, that way I don't have mobs spawning. I'm also going to be adding in the rest of my floors and my ladder afterwards, but you can add that in now if you'd like. So I'm just going to start by coming on top of all of these blocks with some stone. And then I'm going to be placing blocks all the way around the outline of here. So it should just stick out one block all the way around. Of course, I also need to fill in the floor in here. And then we're going to take some stone stairs, and these are being placed upside down all the way around this outline. So you can see I'm just following along the shape here. And I'll show you how the finished circle shall look after we've done this. If you're enjoying today's video, I'd really appreciate it if you consider liking and subscribing. And if you'd like to access some benefits like world downloads for all of my builds, as well as access to a multi-hour Patreon server where I design all of my builds as well, check out my Patreon. I'd love to have you join the community. Alright, there we go, we're all the way around now. From below it looks like this, and then let's head up to the top. And our circle should look like this from above. For the next set of walls, I'm going to start by finding the center of here. So I'm going to line myself up with the center of each side, and here, and I'll just place in a block to remind me where that is. I'm then going to count 3 blocks out, 1, 2, 3, and on the 4th block, I'm going to mark in a gap here for my door. So this should be on the front of the build. To either side of this, I'm going to build up 2 high with some snow, and then I'll build 2 high across all of here with some snow. Then I'm going to mark in my windows. So I'm going to be placing in a frame of packed ice, 2 blocks on either side, and my white stained glass panes in the center. And now that I've got my blocks to render in, we can see what we've got here. So we've got 2 packed ice, 2 glass, 2 packed ice. On top of here, I'm also going to add 1 more packed ice, and I'll fill in the rest of this wall with snow. So it should look like this. Next, we're going to add in a corner window. So we're going to add a blue ice at the bottom, and we've got white stained glass blocks coming up to 1 below the top of this wall, and I'm adding a packed ice at the top. And I'll do this off to the other side as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 high, and then our packed ice. We have a few more walls to add in now. So for this next wall, I'm going to place in 2 snow blocks, leave a gap, and then add in 2 more. I'll place in a blue ice and then build up 3 high on either side. Then we're going to have 2 packed ice, and I'll fill in this gap with some white stained glass panes. I'll top it off with a packed ice and fill in the rest of this wall with snow. So it's going to end up looking like this. And this is the same window design we're going to create on the other 2 sides, filling in the corners with our corner window like we have before. And on to the very last wall. And there we go, our walls for this story of the build are complete. Now that we've got a good base for this large tower, let's move down and work on this smaller tower. We're going to start by using some packed ice, and I'll be mixing in some of the blue ice once we've got our shape. So I'm going to start here building up our platform like this. I'm going for quite a natural shape here, so if yours doesn't end up looking the exact same as mine, that's totally fine. We're just trying to work our way up. So let's add in another 4 blocks here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a block coming along this way. like that. Okay, let's come across here. We're gonna go 2 up, 3 here, and then let's have 3 coming back this way. 1, 2, 3, and then another 3 here. 1, 2, 3. So our first chunk is looking like that. I've come a bit further around towards the back of the build and we're going to start filling in here. Okay, let's see. I'm going to start by coming up 3 high on this block, and then I'm going to come to the side and come up 4 high. Like this. Alright, I'm going to come 2 up behind here so it's level with the top there. Then from here I'm going to add 2 blocks and then 2 blocks to there. Okay, for the next section I'm going to create a little L shape, and let's see, I'm going to place in 2 blocks coming around like this and 2 blocks coming up like this, so we have 2 more of these sort of L shapes. I'll build up 2 high in these 2 spots and then add 2 more on top of here and 1 coming towards the back. So our next chunk looks like that. Alright, let's rotate round a bit further. Let's come to these 3 blocks here. I'll place 1, 3, 2. So we have this sort of shape. Then I'm going to come to here and build up 3 high. 1, 2, 3. And I'll place just 1 in here. I'm going to add 2 coming over to this side and then another 2 coming up. And let's go around to this side. I'm going to add 3 here. 1, 2, 3. And let's see. Here I'm going to come up. Let's add in 4 blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Like this. I'm going to add 2 more coming up towards the back like that. And I'm going to use a temporary block to place in 1 diagonally here. Sitting like this. And I think I might also place in 1 coming back from here to fill in that gap. Let's go all the way around to the front now to fill in this last section. I think I'm going to add 1 block here, then we'll come up 2 high and 2 high again coming in. I'll place 2 more here and let's bring that block 1 more back here. Now towards this side, let's add in 1. And I'm going to use a temporary block to have 2 coming towards this direction to fill in that gap. I'm going to build up 4 high here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can have these 2 blocks fill in that side and 2 blocks fill in here. Right, where are we at? Let's add a couple more. Let's add 1 more in here, and I think that we've got a pretty good foundation. While we're at it, let's add in a few ice spikes around the base. So we're going to have this come along like this. Going to add an extra block here, and let's have this come up so it sticks 2 blocks up. And we're going to add in 1 on this side as well. I think that's a pretty good height. Finally, we've got 1 more ice spike on the back, filling in these 3 blocks of our outline. We're going to have this 3 high here, 5 high, and 2 high. And now that we've got all of those in, let's add in a little bit of blue ice. I finished adding in that blue ice texture, and we're going to go in with the stone brick layer now. I'm going to build up 3 high here with stone bricks starting on this block, and I want to build all of it up to that same level, mixing in a little bit of my cracked and stone as I go. So you'll see here it dips down a little bit, so I'm going to add in an extra block. So in this section it's going to look like a 4 high wall. Now you might prefer to do it this way like I am, placing in all the stone and then going in and adding in your texture. It's up to you how you do this. Alright, coming around here. And adding in my texture. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. And now we can see the shape we're aiming for. So if your base here made out of ice looks a bit different to mine, that's totally okay. But you need to aim for a shape like this. So we have 4 sides, all 3 long. And you can see that it is level with this layer of the build here. So that is 1 block below the point of this ice. Now that we've got that in place, we're going to switch to snow. So for this snow layer, I'm going to come in with 1 layer of snow blocks first. Then I'm going to mark in my door it's too high and centered on this wall, and I'm going to add in another layer. Then on these 3 sides, I'm going to build up 5 high with blue stained glass panes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now you can see that we've got our window marked in. Let's do it on the other 2 walls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm also going to take 2 snow blocks, placing them on top of the door, and then add in a 2 high window above that. Now I can go ahead with my snow blocks and just fill into the height of these windows. I can also go ahead and blend this transition by bringing a few snow blocks down and a few of the stone brick up. To finish off the base walls for this tower, we're just going to add in some more snow atop these windows. Okay, let's take a step back and have a look at how we're getting there with our towers. We need to add in some details now, as well as our spiring roofs. The first step to decorating is going to be adding the window decorations to these windows and those windows. We're going to start by placing a quartz pillar at the bottom, then a chisel quartz block at the top. Then we've got some smooth quartz stairs, 2 on either side of here, 2 on either side of here, and then 2 facing downwards. So we've got an archway and then a base. We're going to add in 4 diorite walls, followed by some end rods next. So our window decoration is going to look like this, and I'm going to repeat that on all of the windows at this layer. Now that all of the windows on this layer are decorated, we're going to create a bridge between the 2 turrets and add in this window decoration. We're going to start with some smooth quartz slabs coming across like this, and I've got a quartz pillar at the top with a button. Then we have some stairs, and I'm going to add in a couple of walls, as well as 2 end rods. So there's that window decoration. Moving on to the doorway and bridge. For the bridge, I'm going to start by placing in 3 smooth quartz slabs like this. Then we're going to have 2 coming out. You can use a temporary block to come in and place 2 below that. Then we're going to add in another layer, but this time we're going down 1. And then we have a layer of 3 coming across like this. So that's how our bridge should be shaped. Next, we're going to go in with the door decorations. So we're going to be placing diorite walls on either side of here like this, with an end rod on top of that. While I'm down here, I'm going to break these 2 blocks. This is where this door's going, and I'm going to replace it with a warped door. And I'll put a warped door in up here. Then we're going to create a quartz archway. So we've got our 2 stairs and a slab, just like that. And we're going to create some railing connecting this up. So we're using some light blue stained glass panes, placing 2 on either side of here. Then I'm going to place 1 on top of that and come along this way. I'm going to place in 2 more. I'll add in 2 more at the top. And there we go, our railing is in. I'm going to create this same doorway decoration down here. So I'm going to add in my warped door, then we've got our diorite walls and end rods, and we'll create an archway. Now that that's all done, let's move up to this next part of the build. Let's start on these corner windows. For this, I'm going to be using some stairs, placing 2 like that, then 2 at the top. Then we've got some diorite walls at the top and the bottom, and I'll connect these up with some light blue stained glass panes. So we've got this decoration to repeat on the other sides. And the last one on the corner. There we go. Now onto these side windows. I'm going to start by placing a blue ice at the bottom with 2 stairs on either side. Then at the top we're going to be placing in 8 chiseled quartz blocks with some stairs on either side of that and some stairs coming down. Then we've got a few diorite walls. I'll connect these up with some light blue stained glass panes, and then we're going to go in with some end rods. So I'm stacking 2 on top of each other here, then 2 coming down, and I'll place 1 more in the center. That way we end up with these 2 bars in the stack of end rods being evenly spaced. So again, we'll come around this side and we'll create the same thing on this side as well as the back. You'll notice that if I stack these end rods straight on top of each other, we're going to have those spaces spaced out differently. So we've got to place 2 at the top and at the bottom, and then the center one in last. I'm also going to be adding a stone button to each of these chiseled quartz blocks. And now we need to add some decoration to the door and window here. For this, we're going to create the same design we have going on down here, except I'm going to place my chisel block at the top, and we've got our stairs going in, and we need to create a base for this window, and some end rods. Alright, down here to the door, creating our small archway, and I'm going to use a warped door. I'm also going to add a stone button onto here to tie it in with the decoration on those other windows. Next, we're going to add in some railing. I've got some quartz here and we're going to make our railing out of that. I'm starting by placing a chisel quartz block in each of these kind of corners, so it's where we have 2 on either side. Then I'm going to place a temporary block in front of each of the blue ice and in front of the door. And from that I can place in a quartz pillar. Then I'm going to go in with a few more temporary blocks on either side of the chiseled. That way I can place some upside down smooth stairs. And I'm also going to have these coming out from these quartz pillars. To connect up this railing, we're going to place in 2 slabs, making sure we're following the outline of the stone below. And I can go ahead and remove these temporary blocks. Next, we're going to bring in some end rods and diorite walls. I'll be placing the diorite walls on top of each of the different quartz blocks, so that's on the pillars and the chisel blocks. On top of that, I'm going to add an end rod, and I'll add end rods all the way around the rest of the balcony as well. So let's take a look at that. To tie in some more of this stone brick from the base, and to add a little bit more detail up top here, we're going to add some nice swooshy curves. So I'm going to start by placing a stone brick upside down in the center of this 5 wide section, so that's below that quartz pillar. Then we're going to have one coming towards the back like this. I'll place a chisel stone brick below that, and a couple more stairs. So it looks like this. I'm going to place another stair this way and an upside down stair here. So this is the shape we're going to end up with. And I'm going to place these in these 3 locations as well. So one on each side of the build. So let's add those. All of those are in place now, so I'm going to go in with some stone brick walls and I'll place one in each of these kind of corner joints. Like that. We're going to start working on the roof now, so I've come up to the top of the build here. I'm going to start by placing in 3 stone atop each of these windows. Then I'm going to come to either side of these with 2 packed ice. Now to fill in this gap, I'm going to be placing stone behind here and then a packed ice in the center. I'll be placing 3 packed ice in front. So what we're going to do from here is make the base of our turret, because we're going to be using some ice, and if we don't have something behind the ice, it's see-through, whereas if we have something behind it, you can see a slight difference in the color. Okay, let's work with packed ice first. So we're going to come all the way around this border like this. So we've got 3, then 2, then 2, then 3, just following the interior of this circle. So there's our first layer up. Then we're going to be needing a lot of temporary blocks here, so make sure you have those on hand. I'm going to be placing a little Tetris block shape like this, or kind of like an upside down T, and that's going on each side. Now I need to fill in these corners. So I'm going to start by placing in a little corner shape like this, and that'll fill in that layer's corner. Then I'm going to go up 2 on either side. Just like that. And then I'm going to go over the top and add 1 in the center. So it should look like this. Here's where we're going to really start building up the height of this turret. So I'm going to come to the very corner, and that's here, and build up 5 high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we need to fill in the faces, so we're going to build up to the same height all the way around. And I'll add 2 on top of these. So it's looking like this. Then we're going to fill in this center gap, finishing 1 above these blocks. Now we're going to start transitioning into some blue ice. First, we're going to fill in the corners with some blue ice, building up 3 high. Then we'll fill in these gaps and add 2 in each face. Finally, to finish off this turret, I'm going to build up a total of 4 high. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we've got the top of the turret and the base for the lower half, so let's add in those blocks. We're going to start with some ice. I'm going to place a layer going all the way around the bottom, just placing them directly onto the outline blocks. I'm going to do the same thing for another 2 layers here. Then I'm going to take some more ice and I'm going to place one on top of this ice, just in the center. Like that. I'm going to switch back to my packed ice now, and I'm just going to follow the triangle outline behind here. So it should look like this. Then we need to blend these 2 sections, so we're going to build up 2 high in each corner with packed ice. And then we're going to create a point above here. So we're going to build up 3 on either side, like that, then another 3, and another 3 in the center. So each face is going to look like this. Alright, now that we've got our shape blocked out and we've got most of the colors blocked out, so we've got our ice at the bottom, then our packed ice and our blue ice, I just want to make the transition between these a little bit smoother by randomizing a few of these blocks. So I'm going to bring some of the ice up, some of the packed ice down, just to add a bit of a fade, and at the top I'll bring some of the blue ice down and some of the packed ice up. So let's work on that. Alright, I think that's good for the ice, so let's move on to the blue ice at the top. Alright, let's take a step back. I think that looks pretty good. Next, let's move down and work on this smaller roof. So I'm going to start with the packed ice, building 5 across like this. And I'm going to fill in these corners. Just like that. I'm going to create a little point on each face. And I'm starting right in with the packed ice, and we're fading straight to the blue here. This is a smaller roof, so we're not going to be using the ice here. I'm also going to fill in these corners while I'm at it. And then we're going to fill up 2 on either side of here. So I'll place in a temporary block and then build up 2 high. Just like that. I'm going to be adding 2 blocks to fill in this gap next. This is where we're going to switch over to our blue ice to finish off this roof. So I'll grab that out and my purple placeholder blocks, and I'm going to place a placeholder block on each side and build up 2 high with my blue ice. Then we're going to join these up and build 2 high on top of each. So it's looking like this. Then to finish off the top, we're going to add in 3 more blue ice. 1, 2, 3. And like on the other roof, we're going to tie this in just by randomizing the texture here a little bit. And there we have the second roof. We have a few more details to add to both of these roofs, but before we do that, let's come down to the base and add in some more ice spikes as we have all of our ice supplies out. We're going to start creating these out of packed ice and then go in with some blue ice. And the way you create these is entirely up to you. Each one can be unique. Alright, I like that one. Let's add in a few bits of blue ice here and there. And there's our first ice spike. Let's add one over there on this side. And our blue ice. Now you might choose to have a few extra ice spikes than I have. It is entirely up to you how many you have of these too. You can make it look extra frozen if you'd like. We have 2 more to add. I like to make sure that I have them all different heights. So this one's a bit taller, that one's a little bit smaller. Let's have this one as, let me think. How about this one's particularly tall? And in that case, let's make this one a bit smaller. Oh, and in fact, we have one more to go over here. There we go, all of our ice spikes are in. Now back to adding details. I'm going to grab a few stone buttons and we're coming back up to this layer. I'm just going to add them onto the snow blocks. While I'm under here, I'm going to place iron trapdoors onto every ice block. So this is just going around the outline of the roof. I'm then going to take some smooth quartz slabs and we're adding an edge to the roof, just alternating going up and down like this all the way around. I'm then going to place a diorite wall on either one of these, either side of the center. And then I'm going to place an end rod on everything else. I like the way the end rods with the diorite kind of play into that ice spike feel. So let's step back and have a look at that. It really does look great, and we're going to create a similar design down here. On this roof, we're going to start with it lower down in the center, then we'll go up, down, all the way around. There we are. I'm going to be placing a diorite wall on each of these corners. And then, like before, we're going in with some end rods. I'm also going to take some stone brick walls and place one in each of the corners below. And then to both roofs, I'm going to add a diorite wall with an end rod on the very top. And here we go, our finished ice wizard tower. So I've put it into an icy landscape, and since this build is inspired by the ice spikes, I had to go with an ice spike biome, although this would look great in any cold biome. You want to make sure you're in a cool climate because we do have ice in the roof. If not, you might have some melting ice. If you're going to be building this outside of an icy biome like this one, I recommend that you switch this ice out for some of the packed ice so it doesn't melt. As for the rest of my landscaping, I've kept it fairly simple. This is such a grand build that it really doesn't need a lot of decorating around it. So I've created some little snow drifts on either side here as well as on the terrain, and I've planted some trees just to frame it and separate the ice spikes in the build from the ice spikes in the biome surrounding. To tie in with the magical look of this build, I've also gone with these soul lanterns to light up my pathway, and those are the lighting I have used within my build as well. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe, it really helps me out, and join my Discord to share some pictures on your build. I'll see you in another video.